PSA check on your loved ones.
I got a story. Want to hear it? Here we go. So this is going to be a little bit of a different video, guys. I'm going to talk about a situation that I witnessed this afternoon. I was already in the spirit of talking about May, it being Mental Health Awareness Month, and another story of mine that I wanted to share with y'all. But I actually was sitting in the parking lot of Harris Teeter in Charlotte, North Carolina, located at Coxwall Shopping Center. And as I was sitting in the parking lot, something just said, sit there for a minute, go ahead and scan your receipts of things that you just recently purchased. As far as the Fetch app, I utilize that app. Please, guys, take part in that app. It helps save you money over the long run, and you can get gift certificates and things like that. But as I was sitting there in my car scanning coupons, I kept hearing something that sounded like a leaf blower. I didn't think nothing of it, but I kept hearing it, and then something just said, my intuition tuned in and said, look up, see what's going on, be aware of your surroundings. So as I was looking out of my window, I started seeing people look concerned, and they were taking out their phones and they were filming. Come to find out, there was an elderly lady, I would say roughly probably about 70 years old. She was Caucasian. Either she was having some sort of episode, but okay. She was having, I'm just going to go ahead and give you the gist of the story, and we'll come to the conclusion in a minute. Either she was having some type of episode where she just was not in her right mind, or she was intoxicated. And I will say why it was easy to say she was intoxicated. She had hit somebody's car. So, as you're not supposed to do it anywhere, but because of the area that I was in, different strokes for different folks, that's all I'm going to say, were parked in front of the store in the fire lane. Somebody had their motorcycle there. There was a relatively new, not brand new, but relatively fairly late model Lexus Coupe SUV. And she was driving a Hyundai Terrain, late model car. She had hit the person's car. However, it wasn't registering to her that she needed to cut her car off. She needed to stop. She just had her foot on the gas, and she was just bawling her tires. So that noise that I was hearing was her in her mind thinking she was getting away. Luckily, the car has minor fender damage to it. It's not totaled, but whoever's car that was, I was out there for almost an hour, because the way she was parked, her car was parked, or where she had hit this car was directly behind where I was parked. So I'm kind of glad that she was not in her right mind, because had she gotten in her right mind and decided to put that car in reverse, she would have totaled my car, and I could have potentially been hurt just by sitting in my car. So at the end of the day, I got out of the car. I walked up to her car while she still had her foot on the gas, and she wasn't paying anybody any attention, because at this point, other people had started trying to approach her too. Because we wanted to make sure that ultimately that she was okay. But again, you have to be cautious nowadays, because you don't know who is who, regardless if they old, young, or what. You have to approach people with caution. So I'm knocking on the window and asking her, ma'am, are you okay? Could you please stop? Stop, ma'am, stop. You can't go anywhere. Could you please cut your car off? And of course, she's not listening to anybody. So there was a gentleman beside me. Luckily, she did have her window down far enough where you could actually stick your hand in the car. He unlocked her door, because of course, with the car being owned, the doors were automatically locked. He unlocked her door. We tried to talk to her and say, are you okay? She, of course, still wasn't responding to us. And I said, are you a diabetic? We're trying to ask her what her name is and things, and she's just not paying us any attention. But as we look into the side door on the spot that has like where you could store things, we noticed a big bottle of Pinnacle vodka in the door, top off. I didn't really smell alcohol on her, but it was open. It's obviously she had been drinking, okay? And she had hit this person's car. The gentleman ended up putting his foot on the brake, putting the car back in the park, cutting the car off. As we were standing there still trying to get her to respond to us, she cut the car back on. So finally he reached back inside, because she did have the door open. And remind you, her seatbelt is still fastened, and she's still trying to get out of the car with the seatbelt still fastened. Just by observing what was in the car, she is handicapped. It looks like she's had surgery done to her knees, and she did have a walker in the back of the car. Like literally, that is how she gets around, is with that walker. However, she was not responding to us, and we steady trying to, to get her to cooperate with us. At some point, a couple people started calling the police and the medics to make sure that she was okay. Seemed like forever for them to get there, and they finally came. She did tell us her name and everything. But people, you got to check on your kin folks and your elderly. I hope she does have some family or something like that, because obviously she was under the influence. They did come and check her out, and ultimately, I can't tell you what all, transpired after that. You get the gist, but they are still taking her. They're doing their due diligence. They're still taking her to the hospital and everything. I ended up having to leave. The person's car is still there. Her car is still there with her, of course, not in it, of course. But check on your loved ones. Like I said, everybody weighs the weight of the world on their shoulders. Old, young, we all do. And unfortunately, we don't always make the best decisions when the weight of the world is on our shoulders. So again, I cannot stress enough that this is Mental Health Awareness Month. You do have NAMI. They do have a hotline number. I have featured on a couple of videos before on where you can reach out and call and get help if need be. But please, don't make bad decisions, because this could have ended badly. Somebody could have gotten seriously hurt because of making the wrong choice. So until next time, I'll see you all soon. Take care. Check on your loved ones. If you haven't heard from somebody in a long time and they've gone through something, check on them. Make sure they're okay. But until next time, see you soon. Bye.